It is Sunday night, July 12th, 2026. Welcome to episode 155 of the Wise Guys Sports Show, a special live edition tonight as we celebrate again episode 155. But it is the middle of the baseball season, and this is our annual Big Rican baseball show. So I'm going to bring in the main event, the star of the show, the main attraction, Mike Martinez. How you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm good, sir. And it's the first time in a long time I've ever been called the main attraction to anything, let alone this stuff. Especially the live shows, because we try to be an ensemble. Usually we try and get the boys in here. Neither one of the guys could get the schedules to work with family and stuff. So it is just JC Blue Note and Big Rican with you tonight. I will say this: I am fully invested. I am wearing, as always, my Wise Guys jersey, my Big Rican hat, and I even have Zephyrillis Spring Water, the official spring water of Major League Baseball. So. But it's Florida spring water, so it's different because it's Florida.
And punt.
Exactly. But yeah, we got a packed show for you guys tonight. It will not be a long one like the normal Big Rican baseball show is, whether it's preseason, midseason, or postseason previews. So, Jim, what do you say? We hop right into it.
As we still don't really kind of have a hat trick for the live show, as we
No.
I don't have the graphics really loaded for that anymore. But we're going to kick things off right away here, and Mike, we've hit the halfway point officially with the final games really kind of happening. There is no Sunday night game tonight, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
All-Star festivities start. Yeah, there is no Sunday night game because everyone's going to be in Philly tomorrow. We've got the Home Run Derby on Netflix tomorrow night.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I don't have, with the modem and the TV going and everything running off the Xbox, I don't have the YouTube TV anymore on the television, so I'll be able to watch it on my MLB.TV app, but I won't be able to watch, or Tuesday that is, but I won't be able to watch it on the big TV. But having said that, yes, the Home Run Derby is tomorrow night in Philly. Expect the ball to be flying out of there because, it's built like a freaking Little League field. So there's that. But let's talk about the first half a little bit.
And let's over that fence.
Oh boy.
Our first baseball movie reference of the night.
There will be plenty more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got to sit up. My back is killing me. So let's talk about the first half a little bit. And I noticed you put there the Dodgers and Rays had the best records at the All-Star break. Dodgers, I think we could have thought Rays out of left field, but they just keep doing it in Tampa.
56-38 are the Rays, 3 games up on the Yankees. The Dodgers, we would like to officially congratulate the Dodgers on yet another National League West Division championship, as they are 61-36, 11 and a half games up at the All-Star break. The next closest are Arizona, only 2 games over 500.
Yeah, they have definitely run away and hid from the Western Division. The fact that San Diego has not played well all year is really led into that a little bit. As far as the American League East goes, no one saw this coming. We figured with the Yankees getting Garrett Cole back, having a healthy Max Fried, a healthy Carlos Rodon, they were going to be the cream of the crop in the East, and Toronto coming off their trip to the World Series, we thought they would be closer into it. But I'll tell you what, Tampa just keeps doing it. And let me tell you this. You were saying?
I was just going to say, Toronto 6 months ago was a
junior
half away from a world championship, and they are dead last in that division, 6 games under 500.
Yeah, and Junior Caminero might be the best young infielder in the game. He's so good. We're going to see him tomorrow night in the Derby. But I tell you what, I think the big headlines from the first half of this season aren't so much the teams that are playing well outside of Tampa. I think it's the teams that aren't playing well, the Padres, the Mets, the Red Sox falling off, the Blue Jays falling off the way they have this year.
I mean,
Detroit falling off.
Well, the Red Sox have won 9 in a row. They're still 2 games under 500. They're still 10 out in that division, but they've definitely climbed themselves right back into the wild card races. They're only a half game out of the wild card race in the American League, but it's also a tale of two leagues right now, where this is looking a lot like how the NFC was so much more dominant than the AFC for all those years in the NFL, and you had a couple of hanger-ons in the AFC. All the dominant teams and the cream of the crop are out in the National League. You've got the Phillies, who are red hot. You've got 4 teams in the Central that are all over 500. Pittsburgh's 3 games over 500 in that division. The West we know is a joke, but I mean, you look at you have to go to, if you're looking at teams that are 500 or above, you got the Padres, Diamondbacks, Pirates, Cardinals, Marlins, Phillies, Cubs, and then the 3 division leaders in the National League. In the American League, you've only got Cleveland, New York, and 3 division leaders. And the Guardians and White Sox are not that far over 500. They're only 5 games each.
Yeah, and who would have thought the Central was going to be a dogfight between the White Sox and the Gardos?
It's very apropos.
Are they back in Chicago?
Yeah, I think we allowed them back earlier in the year, didn't we?
I think so too. I couldn't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
It's almost the fact of we kept it's what we were thinking with Detroit in the NBA. We were kind of waiting on the other shoe to drop, and we look at that with Chicago, and yet we also thought the same thing with San Antonio, and they just kept rolling along. And here's Tampa, who we thought could be competitive, and they just keep rolling along.
Yeah, they have been. Hey, speaking of the White Sox, did you see the guy from the Bananas hit for the cycle the other night?
I did not.
The player they picked up from the Savannah Bananas hit for the cycle the other night.
I mean, it's happening.
Banana ball is here to stay.
It is. It is.
I don't know if you heard that pop. That was my knee. That hurt. Real quick, let's do a couple minutes on the Guards and the Mets, just because those are the 2 teams we pay the most attention to, with the color scheme and, of course, your hat. Let's start with the Guards, and let's start with the fact that they're going to get Jose Ramirez back right after the All-Star break, which is massive.
Yeah, it's
somebody put up a video today. I was on Somebody put a video up on X today, Jim, and it's the football drill with the tire where you're trying to pull it out of somebody's hands.
Right.
And they said it was Antonetti and whoever I can't remember the GM's name,
Mike Chernoff.
arguing over who's going to say to the press, getting Jose back at the trade deadline is bigger than any acquisition they could have made.
It's completely accurate. According to ESPN,
it can be argued.
And RotoWire, he's been hitting off of a tee, and he's expected to face overhand pitching soon. They reported, but that was 7 days ago. So, I mean, I don't think he'll be ready, next week. From what I'm reading, he's going to be closer towards the end of the month with this. So, I mean, he might get a couple of rehab starts, down in Akron with their AA affiliate. He may go to Columbus for a couple of games with their AAA affiliate. So I got a feeling we're probably targeting August 1 for Jose to be back with the big club.
Well, yeah, and then the fact that August 3 is now the trade deadline this year. So, I mean, that's what I meant by getting them back around the trade deadline. I tell you what, getting him for the stretch run, though, that's going to be massive for them. The guy who plays stats on ESPN was on with Bolster Only on the MLB Tonight podcast. The Guardians have only thrown 5 starters. Their starting rotation from opening day on has been the same 5 guys. They have not missed a start due to injury. They have not missed anything. And the thing is, they're pitching into the 6th, 7th inning almost every single night. The bullpen is the best bullpen in baseball.
And they're sending, the all-stars that they're sending, Parker Messick, who is their 3rd starter, is the lone all-star coming out of that rotation. Slade Ciccone had another good outing. Joey Cantillo was 8-4 after he picked up the win against Miami earlier today. Tanner Bybee, his record is not indicative of, how he's been. He's definitely not been atrocious by any stretch, despite his 3-9 record. And remember, he started 0-7 because he's getting the Shane Bieber treatment where he got absolutely 0 run support, and also the Corey Kluber treatment. And then Gavin Williams, your ace of the staff with the Guardians, is 10-4, and he's 6th in the league in strikeouts.
He's nasty. I love watching that kid pitch. Every now and again when he's going, I'll throw it on for a few minutes, and I'll set it up so I listen to Hammy, but have the TV on, because I don't really like the TV broadcasters for the Gardos. If my choice is the Hall of Famer or those guys, it's the Hall of Famer every day of the week.
See, yeah, it's like I could appreciate Underwood. I'm not as much of a Rick Manning fan as I'm getting a little bit older.
I've never been a Rick Manning fan. Even 30 years ago, my God, did I say 30 years ago when I lived there? Holy shit.
You know who is still doing TV, and he's been with the Rockies for the better part of 30 years? Remember the name Jack Corrigan?
No shit.
Former Cleveland Indians and longtime. Wow. Remember, it was Corrigan and Corrigan on TV and Herb Score on radio. And then Corrigan left to go to the Rockies, and he's still there.
That's amazing.
That signature touch 'em all time home run call.
I remember him. I remember him. Best. He really is. And then you have my boys, who, by the way, the Red Sox have won 9 in a row, and the last 3 were against the Mets. Dude, I don't even know what the fuck to do anymore. They're going to come back from the break. They're going to have the big thing for Beltran, because they're going to retire number 15. Of course, Beltran goes into the Hall of Fame as a Met, only the 3rd player ever to go into the Hall of Fame with a Mets emblem on his plaque. Let's talk about the rumor.
Before we do that, Michael, I'd like to make an announcement here tonight, if I could.
Sure.
I gotta queue up the right thing for it.
Is this what you were saying to me? You're gonna break me tonight?
Kind of. I would like to officially welcome everyone to the first official meeting of No Mets.
I like that. I like that.
Brother Jim will now read the minutes of the meeting.
Can I make a?
901,
Can I make?
902, 903, 904.
Can I? Can I make a change to that? With as angry as they make me, can we change mooks to motherfuckers? Oh my god, it's so bad, dude.
Where's our official meeting?
At the chop shop across the street from Citi Field.
I thought you and I were actually mentioning it earlier in our chat yesterday. What was it? Friday?
Possibly. Where did we say?
Where you can look at a thigh and blacken an eye.
The nudie bar.
Where there's a cop at the door and a Kennedy on the floor.
Dude, this is hurtful. Hey, speaking of that, I found the Al Bundy Polk High jersey in my size.
God.
It's like a blanket. Anyway, or the one I want to put over the face of half that team. You know, I've been sitting here thinking about it. And this is the last thing I want to say in the Mets because we're getting to where there's other stuff we want to talk about. We can preview the All-Star game, whatnot.
Well, go ahead. Bring up the rumor.
Well, here's the rumor, is that there is a chance that the Cleveland Guardians could be in on trying to reacquire Francisco Lindor from the Mets. Now, there are two reasons I don't think it's going to happen. One, I don't think Steve Cohen is going to allow the first big move he made as the owner be traded back to the team that he got them from. That it's a bad look for a guy who's trying to build something. Two, importantly,
good and terrible.
How was that?
That boy is good. Good and terrible.
I don't know why it's not playing properly, but it's not the one that I was trying to play, but still, you know, it's
the thing is this. You and I both know Cleveland's not taking on any of that salary.
That's number one. And
well, that's number one from the Cleveland side. Number two, he's not a clubhouse cancer, but it's not his clubhouse anymore. Right. This is Jose Ramirez's team. And do I think he'd be a problem there? No, I do not. I do not believe he'd be a problem. I think if he went back there, he would embrace it and he would try and win a championship because he knows what that would mean to Cleveland. Just like he knows what it would mean to the Mets fans to win in Queens. But the bottom line is this: the Dolans are never going to take on that kind of a contract, and Steve Cohen would be stupid to pay the entire salary and send him back to Cleveland.
It's never going to happen because of the fact that when he was here, this town was run by two guys, LeBron and Lindor. And LeBron left, and then Lindor basically, yes, it was a trade. They both took the money and ran with it. And and Lindor had the option of the hometown discount, didn't, went and signed for a huge bank. And there's no way they're going to accept him coming back because, number one, he's not from here. Number two, we all knew that, you know, as Clevelanders, he was going to go and he was going to end up with a major market. LeBron, yeah, sure enough, broke everybody's hearts. But Lindor coming back is it's not going to happen because he's not going to be nearly as welcomed back as LeBron would. And Sure, he actually did hit one of the biggest home runs in the postseason history of the franchise. Um, First of all, people still forget they lost that game.
Oh, so yeah, they lost that game.
But he's also not going to come back because of the fact that you've got Gab Arias, you've got Bazana, you've got Brian Rocchio, you've got basically a logjam there between second and short. Jose's at third. Um, you're set essentially up the middle. Sure, he would definitely add more pop with his bats, but even when he was here the first time, he doesn't produce in the postseason.
I
On average.
Yeah, I had to disagree with you there. I disagree with you there. If you look at his postseason numbers from that 16 run, the 17 run, and then obviously 2024, what he did with the Mets, it almost feels like, and we can look up the numbers another time because we know it's not going to happen. It almost feels like because he didn't win that championship in 2016, anything he does in October isn't going to match up. He's the only player to ever hit a grand slam twice in the postseason. The difference is one a game, one didn't quite get there. But he's played all the way through a game 7 of the World Series where he's been a major contributor offensively. He has basically helped the team on the brink of elimination get through and win a series. Never mind that. Do the Mets get to the postseason in 2024 without him? No. Ohtani doesn't go 50-50. We're talking about the first MVP in Mets history. There's nobody's going to tell me different.
I think the postseason. I think the postseason reps a insanely bloated contract that they're not going to take on because he took that contract when he wouldn't give Cleveland a hometown discount.
Listen, I think it's a bad idea if they even thought about it. However, being a Met fan and a Clevelander, this is something when it was brought up that I've just felt you and I had to at least throw an opinion on it. And by the way, if they did make that deal, Rocchio would probably be on his way to Queens.
I totally agree with that, but
it'd be stupid
if they call and they say, "Will you take?" We'll offer you Francisco Lindor. If I were Chernoff and Antonetti, I would hang up that phone, before the sentence even finishes coming out of his mouth.
I wouldn't blame him one bit. And being a very selfish Met fan, I don't want to lose him. I love watching him day in and day out. I always have. When he was in Cleveland, I love watching him day in and day out. So there's that. They haven't announced the starting pitching for Tuesday, have they?
Yes. Yeah. Sanchez for Philly will get the ball, and then Dylan Cease will get the ball for the American League.
Nice. Who else from the Gardos is going to the All-Star game besides Messick?
Bazana.
Really?
Yes. I have this here somewhere. I had it and then I lost it. Here we go. Your American League, they're all going to be reserves. It's Bazana, it's Parker Messick, and then Kate Smith, the closer.
Okay. Yeah, the Mets just have Soto, which with what he's doing is the only one who should be going.
And he's a starter, which we all know that starter basically, doesn't mean a whole lot. It's because it's mostly fan vote.
It's all fan vote, and you know what? I have no problem with that. It's the fans' game. It's not, thank God it doesn't determine who wins the world, hosts the World Series anymore. But it's a fans' game, as are all the All-Star, Pro Bowl, hockey, whatever it is. So yeah. I'm happy to see him go to the All-Star game. He is the only one deserving of it. I think Luke Weaver, the reliever, should have gone. They haven't scored on him since May. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, but he actually was offered, and I think he rejected it.
Oh, did he decline? Okay, cool.
Yeah, he declined because he actually said he did not want to be the fifth option.
I don't blame him. There's part of me doesn't blame him because the year he's having, the fact that his team is dog shit is why he didn't go in the first place. So I get it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Zach Wheeler.
Oh yeah, that was bullshit too.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I tell you what, the Derby's going to be fun. I like Schwarber. Who do you think?
I like Schwarber, but I think my dark horse is, um, and I'm not trying to play homerish with this. Um, look out for JJ Weatherall, the rookie with the Cardinals.
I like that pick. If I have to give you a dark horse, it's Junior Caminero.
Uh, the Cardinals did kind of something that really is not in their playbook, and they signed Weatherall as a 23-year-old rookie to an 8-year, $112 million extension earlier this week. He's hitting 259, 13 home runs, 36 RBIs, a 755 OPS, and of all position players in Major League Baseball, he ranks eighth in WAR.
Yeah, he's having a great rookie season. I think he's going to run away with the rookie of the year and hide. Sorry, I know the glare is a little bit much, but I just shaved the head and it's really itchy. I will say this. That's what the Braves did with Acuna and Harris and Albies. And the Braves have been consistently winning since they did it. So I think the Cardinals turning a page like that's a good idea.
So where do we think right now when we look at some of the races when we hit the break? You know, the Yankees are only three back of the Rays. They've won four in a row. The Red Sox, they're still 10 games back. They climb themselves into that? They're certainly in the wild card, hunt. We've got the Rangers, Mariners, and Astros all within 3 games of each other, but they're all hovering right around 500 in the West. The Phillies caught the Braves. They're only two back at the break. So how amped up are Philly fans going to be this weekend, knowing that their team won good series and they're in first place coming right out of the break? The Brewers are up 5 on the Cubs, 8.5 on the Cardinals, and we talked about the Dodgers running away with the West. What are we thinking? I don't want to say for the second half, but what are we thinking in the immediate future once teams are back in play starting on Thursday?
I think we're going to see whoever comes out of the break hot are going to be buyers at the break. You're going to see, I think the first domino to fall is going to be one of the relievers out of the Met bullpen that's having a halfway decent season to one of these contenders. As far as the division races go, Jim, I think the Yankees are going to fade. And here's why. Judge is still hurt. All these guys that have had to take up the mantle since Judge got hurt, they're not going to be able to keep it up. You don't know what you're going to get out of a second half of a season out of Carlos Rodon, who's been okay this year. Their bullpen is still an issue. Yeah, the Yankees have won 4 in a row, but they've gone through stretches where they haven't played very good baseball at all.
Speaking of Carlos Rodon, I don't know if you've seen this, but Netflix, not only do they host the Derby tomorrow night, they've actually added the last 5 years of the Home Run Derby and the last 5 World Series clinching games in their entirety to their library in the last few weeks.
Well, the very first Derby they did, which would be 21, I already have 21 saved. That was Pete's second one, the one in Colorado. I also have the one from 2019 saved. Of course, that was in Cleveland. But obviously Pete winning it was big, but I was going to save that anyway because the one in 97 was so cool when living there. I think that's amazing. By the way, Netflix does a really good job with the sports. I was not a fan of when they were going to do it, but I love what they've done so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely, because of the fact that it's on Netflix, there's a very good chance I'm going to actually have that dialed up for a little bit tonight. And I haven't watched a whole lot of baseball outside of the Guardians. I haven't caught a Cardinals game all year, just with everything else that's going on.
Yeah, I put Hammy on every now and again on the app for baseball, and of course I watch the Mets as the joke I make. I turn them on every night. 10 minutes later, I turn them off.
I'll have the Derby on for probably a little bit. I will certainly not watch the All Star break because I'm going to need probably a good 2 days to catch up from, TennoCon over the weekend, where I did 7 hours of streaming in the last 2 days.
Yes, and I sent you your first emoji. What do you say we move on from baseball and get to something a little more interesting, huh?
Well, we got a biggest kind of surprise
Oh,
at the break from what we talked about here.
now I'm going to go on a personal standpoint on this one, not an overall baseball thing. I'm going to go with my own team. I am very, very happily surprised with the way that AJ Ewing and Carson Bench have played, the two rookies in the outfield that the Mets have. You are talking about, and Bench, of course, started the year with the team, hit a home run on opening day against the Pirates, and then kind of went into a slump. But since he made an adjustment to his stance in early May, since then he's hitting about 310. He's hitting for power. He's stealing bases. He's playing good defense. AJ Ewing has come up and is just hit the ground running after a little bit of struggle at the beginning. I will give this to the Mets coaching staff and the managerial staff, since they switched managers in the season. They're letting these kids play, which I think is massive. And they're letting them play with Soto, because now you're talking about your center and right fielder with Soto and left for the next 10 years, if not longer, because Soto's there for another 13. And then you got these two kids. So I'm pleasantly surprised with that. The other thing I'm surprised about, by the way, too, is, and I don't mean to sound like this, I am pleasantly surprised with Travis Bazzana. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good.
He's certainly fallen off this week, as I want to say he's like, against the Marlins. I think he was 1 for 9 in the series. He was 0 for 3 today. The batting average has dropped to like right around 240 something. They pull that up today, even though they won today. Where's the box score? So Bazzana's average has dipped to 238. He did score 2 runs today. His last 7 days, he is 6 for 25 with an RBI, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts.
Wow. Listen,
So he has certainly fallen off a little bit, but definitely you're absolutely right. We knew he was going to be good. We didn't think he was going to be this good. Here's my other surprise. If you're a Guardian, and this is if you're a Guardians fan, and this is not my overall surprise for the first half, just how valuable their rookies are going to be, between not only Bazzana but Chase DeLauder.
dude,
How bad did they miss him with the way that he's returned to the lineup and continues to just mash?
yeah, he's raking something fierce.
And the fact that they're getting good production out of another rookie. I can't think of his name at the moment. Reese Hoskins has played well, even though he's been around for a little while. Khalil Watson, who was recently brought up with them, he's hitting 221. He's only got 1 home run, but he's certainly trying to settle in a little bit more. So the future's very bright. But my biggest surprise is really, Michael, how far the Athletics have fallen off in the last month. We saw that they came out hot out of the chute, whereas the White Sox continued to stay consistent. The Athletics have lost 9 straight. They're 14 under 500 at the break, and they're essentially falling out fast.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that at all, to be very honest with you. Only because it's the A's. They always tease us for the last, 15, 20 years. And then
You think this will actually change by the time they're in Vegas in 2 years, though?
no, I don't. And you want to know why I don't? It's because the owner is not going to do what needs to be done to put a contender on the field in that new ballpark.
But don't you think it might be the fact that they've been basically nomadic for the last 3 years? We're finally getting finality, and getting that established park could start to turn things around a little bit because of the fact that you were playing in a building that was falling apart. You were talking about moving as much as 3 years ago. Then the move becomes official, and you're playing in minor league ballparks in Sacramento and in Las Vegas basically for this and next year before you move into your new barn, in the summer of 28,
I
in the spring of 28.
I hope that it does, because when the A's are good, it's more fun. But I don't think this idiot's going to be able to put together a front office that'll do it. Just my opinion.
Who's closer, the A's or the Rockies? Because they've got two of the best. When you look at it, they're very young, they're very inexperienced. They've both been accused of basically trotting out double A teams. We've seen Chicago, how they've kind of turned it around this year. Let's see what they look like the second half of the year. But I mean, Jake McCarthy hit his second inside the park home run of the season today against the Giants. It was the Rockies' only run, but the Rockies we talked about have good young talent. The A's have, Nick Kurtz, arguably the best young hitter in all of baseball, and we think that they're going to be there because of the fact of, Texas. Sure, they're only a couple of years away, removed from a world championship. Seattle's always been there and can never get over the hump. Houston always seems to contend, but Houston's getting very old very quickly. The Angels are not going to be relevant anytime soon. So why not the A's at that point? Why not the A's be able to put something together, get the ballpark to go with it, and then actually start to move forward? I understand that they're going to be playing behind the eight ball with this, and it's definitely Moneyball-esque because they don't have the money to be able to keep up. But maybe the influx into Vegas is going to be able to put some cash back into that franchise because of the market that it's in. Even not so much for the residential, because it's still a smaller market, but the tourist attraction. Hey, let's fly out to Vegas for a week. We're out there on vacation. Shit, let's go to an A's game.
Yeah, no, you're right. It could, but here's the question. Is this the same owner who, when he was filling the Coliseum, was filling his pocket and not his roster?
Yeah, but let's also remember, with the Coliseum, the stadium was falling apart. They don't draw a dick, and there were possums in the play-by-play booth.
And if this keeps up, I'll have to feed Fufu real dog food.
It was Chow Chow.
Oh, shit.
You need to put "This Guy Here Is Dead" on there.
I put that out there yesterday on social media for something obvious, and I'll leave it at that.
If you're speaking of what I think you are, when said person was asked if he had spoken to another person, he said, "I'm going to go check right now."
And then we actually apparently earlier today saw an update that, yeah, he might not be.
I'm going to refrain from comment.
Next. So we shift from baseball. Mike, the NBA, we haven't done this in over 2 weeks. Since we last, taped an episode, and things are still completely nuts right now. I mean, since the last time we did this, LeBron opted out, Jaylen Brown got moved, and then we actually saw in the last, 72 hours, 2 Supermax deals by 2 of the top 15 players in all of basketball.
Yeah, it's we were talking personally if we thought Donovan Mitchell would be re-signed and extended by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was for that Supermax contract. Obviously, Wemby we knew was never going anywhere. He'll be a lifelong Spur like Tim Duncan and David Robinson. But going to Donovan's deal.
Well, Mitchell was a 4-year 273 with 273 million with the Cavs. Um, and that was inked yesterday. Wemby was actually announced late yesterday afternoon. 5 years, 252 million supermax, and he actually altered the deal to where they wanted to offer over 300 million, but he actually opted to something smaller. I don't know if there was like a kicker or an option in there, but it's going to save the Spurs 50 million over the next 5 years. I'm sorry, but saving a team only $10 million over the course of 5 years with the way that the NBA contract situations are going. I mean, what is that? A mid-level exception anymore? 10 million?
No, you're absolutely right. But how many players do that?
I mean, I completely agree. Some of the other moves that were made, uh, since we last came to you, are Ryo Hachimura leaves the Lakers, goes over to the Clippers, 2 years, 28 million. The Cavs, not only the Cap, if we're a Cavs fan, which we are on this show, Mitchell re-signs for the supermax, but then they lose two other pieces as mid-season acquisition. Keon Ellis was signed by the Nets for 2 years, 18 million, and then after 7 years in Cleveland, Dean Wade was signed away to Philadelphia for 4 years, 39 million.
Yeah, Dean Wade's going to be a tough loss, but it opens the roster spot, and it opens the need for a 3. So let's discuss that quickly. Jim, I honestly believe in the next 2 to 3 days we will hear. Actually, Tuesday. By Tuesday. Because it will be 12 years to the day. It'll be 12 years to the day that he wrote the letter.
The stories are is that there are multiple teams leaving him voice memos looking to court him, and a lot of the sports books and a lot of the pundits, and myself included, it's really come down to 4 teams, and call it ring chasing, call it whatever you want. We can break each of them down. Phil, in no particular order: Philadelphia, Cleveland, Golden State, Miami. Miami, he could go back there, and he teams up with Giannis and Bam. A new big 3 there as he ends out his career. He could go to Philadelphia and gravy train to another ring, especially now that they acquired Jaylen Brown. He's playing with Joel Embiid. Golden State could be intriguing, but he's the alpha that players always wanted to sign with him. How would it basically kind of, I certainly don't want to say diminish his legacy, but it basically does it turn him into almost kind of Kevin Durant-esque as a hired gun looking to piggyback off someone, because here's everyone wanting to come to him, and then he's actually then going to gravy train on to Steph at the end of his career, which would certainly be intriguing that, the two guys that were rivals for all of those years eventually meet up, and then naturally coming back to Cleveland to finish out for one final season.
I don't think it's the same as KD going to Steph, because KD was in his prime and they had just won 73 games. This is a guy who's in his last year. Let's be real. This is going to be LeBron's it's going to be the swan song this year. I honestly believe he will be in Cleveland. I honestly believe that in the next year or two, Bronny will be in Cleveland. But again, not what his father was. He will be a piece to play as part of a 12-man rotation. He's not the end-all, be-all. But I think he's going to come home. I honestly do. I thought he was going to come home in 2014, and I did my very first episode of Big Rican in 2018 saying he was leaving. But I think he's going to come home. I think he's going to see that not only does he have a shot to win a championship by adding him to that roster, that's a big upgrade from what they had. Even at almost 42 years old, that is a big upgrade to what the Cleveland Cavaliers had last year. It's also someone who can mentor and lead, and no one has to worry about it. Because whether he's the third option scoring or not, even Luka and Austin Reeves looked to him last year at the clutch moments and the big moments to be the guy to lead them. He's going to do the same thing here. He's not going to go somewhere where it's his team. And this, no, every place you just talked about, it wouldn't be his team. Miami is now Giannis's team. Cleveland is Donovan's. Philly is Jaylen Brown and Joel Embiid's. And of course, Golden State is Steph's. So he's not going to, this isn't 2014. This is not going to lead a franchise to the promised land and do it my way. This is, I got 1 year left in me. Where do I want to go? That's going to have the biggest impact and makes me happy. Because look, he has done the thing to make himself happy since he left Cleveland the first time.
Because I mean, that's the Cleveland part is intriguing of coming home, but I mean, I don't think he's like moving back here because, you know, Sabrina and all them, they enjoy their life out in LA. You know, naturally their families are from here. So it's not like, you know, like when Tristan was dating, you know, the Kardashian family, you know, it's not like anyone's going to be moving here or anything. You know, he'll have a house here. I think he's still got a house in the area or some partial residence or something because that's where, you know, Gloria and all them are still, you know, in the area. You know, it's I mean, the Kelseys don't live in Cleveland anymore, but they still actually can, you know, they still got residences, you know, in the area.
Well, Ed does.
Family.
Well, Ed
What's
does.
that?
Ed still lives in Cleveland.
Yeah. So, but, you know, as much as I would like to see him come home, the Golden State aspect of that is very, very intriguing to be able to see him. I mean, you know, to see him, Steph, and Draymond, we could say all we want about Draymond. That 3 Hall of Famers, 3 future Hall of Famers, 1 final run all together, and he doesn't have to go very far. He's basically just got to go from LA to San Francisco. Could be very, very intriguing. It's
intriguing, but remember, Draymond didn't re-sign. So he'd have to do something again. Did you see the clip that's going around from
but there's also something that there's been a lot of stories where where LeBron coming back home one final time has started to really pick up steam. It's because of there's a lot of rumors going around, and I don't know who floated these. I don't know if it was Rich Paul or somebody else, but he would be open to kind of, you know, playing veteran minimum, you know, between $3 and $7 million at that point, which, you know, with the Cavs restructuring and everything could certainly, you know, work in their favor. I mean, look at what their 5 would be. You would have Donovan, Harden. You would still be able to have Mobley, Jared, and LeBron. And you've still got Strus coming off the bench. You know, you don't have Dean Wade anymore. You know, you'd have Bronny, but I mean, you certainly have to re-up your bench. You got Jalen Tyson. You got the kid that they just drafted a couple of weeks ago, who's going to be, you know, in the rotation. You know, that's the problem for the Cavs right now is that Evan Mobley, we all think we're waiting on him to turn the next level. What if this is it with him? What if he's that defensive guy and he's never going to get over that hump to be that scorer, to be able to elevate him to that Embiid and Giannis level? Jared Allen, we know, is always going to be the defensive guy. You got 2 of those guys. One of them can put the ball in the hole, but he's never going to take over a game. And then you got, you know, Mitchell, who's going to be 30, who's going to be 31 during the season, and Harden, who's basically, you know, on his essentially his last contract, is any kind of meaningful minutes, and then LeBron in his final year. You're going to have to rebuild basically that whole backcourt after this season.
Yeah, you'd probably have to do some big things after this year. But here's the thing. If he's willing to take that veteran minimum to play here, and I say here as in Cleveland, being Cavs fans, I think at that point in time, it gives you the leverage to do that moving forward. And if anybody can rebuild this roster, it's Kobe Altman. He's done it once already. He turned them into a perennial contender after LeBron left the second time. Jim, I honestly believe that they are going to get him. He's going to take the minimum. They're going to make a deep run. And your thoughts of final game of the year, 23 goes in the rafters. They announced they're building the statue, and Dan Gilbert hands him 5 to 10% of the team. That's how this is going to go.
I think it's going to be very telling with what's going to happen for this year, depending on what his announcement is. Think about this. From the 4 teams that we've covered, Philly, Golden State, Miami, Cleveland. If he wants to go after a ring, he goes to Miami or he goes to Philly because those are his best chances because he can pair up with two perennial top 20 players. If he's coming to Cleveland, it's his last year because with Cleveland, you've got to go through Miami, you've got to go through Boston, you got to go through the Knicks. Even with Boston losing Jaylen Brown at that point, you've still got Jason Tatum in Boston. We saw how good that they were without Tatum. Now you bring Tatum back in the fold, you eliminate Jaylen Brown. What's Boston going to do? Boston's going to, retool, and Boston's still got a ton of talent, and you also still have to go through the champions. If you're thinking Cleveland or Golden State, it's going to be his last run, and he's basically doing a swan song. He's either going to come home for a swan song, or he's going to go re-up and actually and play with, Steph and Draymond at that point. And Draymond will actually come back for one more year or something like that, just for the opportunity to play with LeBron and Steph, at that point. So I think if it's Golden State or if it's Cleveland, get the retirement tour and all the gifts ready. If it's Miami or Philadelphia, he's looking for number 5. He's looking for one for the thumb.
I'm going to switch something there, and I'm going to say if you want a ring, you're going to go to Cleveland or Golden State, or Cleveland or Miami. Him and Jaylen Brown cannot win a ring. They need Embiid, and as we've seen over the entirety of his career, Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. So there's that. But hopefully,
of other really go ahead.
So, but hopefully, my prediction comes to fruition again, and we get one more ride in the wine and gold from Mr. James.
A couple of more really quick signings. Boston signed Mitchell Robinson away from the Knicks for 3 years, $47.4 million to shore up their front court with Al Horford moving on. At 58 years old. Golden State inks Kristaps Porzingis to 2 years, $40 million, who still can be very productive when he's healthy. The problem is keeping him healthy. After his great run in the playoffs, Champagny re-ups with the Spurs for 3 years, $45 million. Landry Shamet is back with the Knicks for 4 years, $24 million. And then in the wake of the Giannis trade, former teammates Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero had a tussle in Vegas where it was reported that Bam struck Tyler Hero after comments that he made about Bam's defense after the trade was made.
Why is Bam getting mad about someone critiquing his game when his wife is a better player? Like, come on.
Did we also talk the John Morant trade last time? I don't think so.
We didn't. Where'd he end up?
He's now in Portland.
Not terrible.
Not terrible. I think. I mean, we talk about we saw what Charlotte did this year, being typical bottom feeders and then working themselves into a playoff position. We always think that the other shoe or something is going to drop, or who's going to be that one that's going to kind of turn the corner. It was Minnesota for a few years, and now they've actually become a perennial Final Four type team. Certainly good to win a round or two. Is even after the big Randall for Cat trade. Portland could be one to make that change. We thought it was going to be Sacramento, and then the bottom fell out the year after they made their playoff run. I'd like to see Portland get back there. I don't think Dame coming back off that injury is going to matter as much to them. And we all thought that Scoot Henderson was going to be the next great guard to come out of there, and obviously it's not. But Portland's got a lot of good young talent in that cupboard.
They do. I'm also interested to see how LaMelo and Cat play together after that big move.
Michael, any other thoughts on the NBA as we get ready?
No.
Well, he's not the best co-host in the league for nothing, folks.
Thank God. You got it.
Hey, in case you haven't noticed, and judging by the attendance, you haven't.
That was a great segue.
Not too much in the blast tonight. Uh, we got we had the finals at the All England Tennis Club over the weekend. We've got the Final Four set at the World Cup, and then we got a long-awaited, depending on who you talk to, return that lasted 69 seconds.
Nice. Yeah, let's start it with Wimbledon, and congratulations to now back-to-back champion Yannick Skinner, winning today in 4 sets. Who won the women's side yesterday? And I'm terrible at this. I forgot her name.
Linda Koskova, ninth seeded, down Carolina Mukova, 10th seed, 6-2, 5-7, 6-3 to win. And then on the men's side, Yannick Sinner, the top ranked player, beat Alexander Zverev, the second ranked player, 6-7, 7-6, 6-3, 6-4. So the first 2 sets both go to tiebreakers. And Sinner again goes back to back, but you got to think, was Sinner or Zverev just keeping the seat warm until Carlos Alcaraz returns, early next season?
What injury did he have?
I think he had wrist surgery.
I thought so. I was either wrist or knee, and I couldn't remember which one it was. I don't know if they're keeping it warm because Skinner is a great player, especially on grass for whatever reason. I know what's his name? Rafa was always amazing on clay, no matter where it was. Federer, when he was doing it, and Pete Sampras for that matter, always amazing on grass. I feel like Agassi was one of the best hardcourt players of his time. Skinner likes to play on the grass, man. He's played really good the last 2 Wimbledon tournaments. So, hats off to him for winning again. I was sitting at my desk at work and I saw that Coco and Pegula played against each other and was quarters.
Yep.
I was hoping Serena would have won her match.
I was hoping that Kim Pegula would have broke through, and unfortunately, for Kim coming up short yet again. I would love to just kind of see her as, not even as a Sabres fan, because of her parents owning the Bills and the Sabres. I would love to see her win a major and just break through. We all thought, I'm sorry, she's kind of falling into that Jen Capriati type, that American that we got so much hyped for, and just get the one at this point.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I think that her and Coco will have a better showing in Flushing next month. Man, that'd be something if we finally get a U.S. American woman to win the U.S. Open for the first time since Serena. That'd be great.
It would, and according to, Carlos Alcaraz is still training, but we don't know if he's going to be ready in time for Flushing. He's got 6 more weeks. He's already, practicing and hitting with that right hand. But let's see, just because hard court, the ball picks up a little bit faster there, and especially with the heat wave that the northern half of the country's really had for most of this summer. We'll definitely see what that's going to do, especially with the fact that the ball's going to fly a little bit. It's going to have a little bit more oomph on it. The ball's going to stay down a little bit more, so the miles per hour are going to kick up a little bit more.
Yeah, the U.S. Open is going to be interesting this year, especially with the weather that's going on in the Northeast, and even out by you. I know you guys have been dealing with Georgia-like weather all summer.
Yeah,
it's been stupid here, dude. The World Cup semifinals. Who were the final 4, James?
The Final Four, for the first time, I want to say in over 20 years, the four top seeds in the FIFA World Rankings all made it to the semifinals. So we will have on Tuesday, we have France against Spain. That's number one against number three. And then on Wednesday, we have the other semifinal, England against Argentina. Argentina's two, England's number four. We'll have our third place game on Saturday, and our championship will be a week from tonight.
Wow. That's gonna be a great semi. I like the England and Argentina matchup. Just real quick, in soccer history, a couple days ago, it was 27 years ago on the 10th that 90 plus thousand people jammed into Stanford Stadium to watch the U.S. women win the World Cup on their own soil. And of course, we have the most iconic moment in women's World Cup history. Do we know what I'm speaking of, James?
Brandy Chastain's goal.
Amen. And of course, one of my favorite ESPN commercials from there. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, was that I know that I'm trying to remember who it was. It was no, it wasn't Rich. Wasn't Neil Everett.
No, not that one.
Wasn't Dan.
Not the one with the celebration.
Okay, because that one was a classic.
It was a classic. In this one, Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett are playing foosball against Brandy Chastain and Mia Hamm. Brandy Chastain scores a goal. KG looks at her and goes, "What's up with the shirt?"
What? Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting semis. That England Argentina match. I mean, if Messi brings this one home, dude, come on. The guy played.
I mean,
this dude.
Argentina, you know, with I mean, they are the defending champions, but you know, England hasn't won a World Cup in a long time. France
60s.
is the number one team in the world. I mean, these are again the four best teams in men's soccer. I mean, for all of the audience that kind of tuned out after the U.S. got shellacked earlier in the week, you're going to see some of the ratings go up here over the course of, you know, the middle of the week and the end of the week, and not just internationally. It's you know, to be able to get a third place game and a second place game. I mean, because you're going to have, I mean, you're going to have either England playing against France or Spain,
Or Argentina playing
Saturday, or you're going to have Argentina playing against France or Spain. Yeah, so you know, whoever loses this game still got a really, really good game on Saturday. You think you think these teams, if they lose, they're not going to actually want to come back and you know, perform really well on Saturday and take home that third place.
I think if you get a natural rivalry, I think what I would like to see personally is I'd like to see Spain and Argentina in the final. Or actually, no, I want to see England and France go at it in the final. Like old school War of the Roses type. Yeah.
Yep.
And by War of the Roses, I don't mean Kathleen Turner or Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see that one. I think we're going to end up getting France and Argentina in the final. I don't think England's going to have enough firepower, even with as good as they played against Norway. And I don't know if you heard the whole stadium serenading the one guy whose first name is Jude. They were singing frickin' Hey Jude in the stadium. No, I think we're going to get Spain, Argentina.
I have a feeling we could have France and England. It's because Argentina, yeah, they did beat Norway. I'm sorry, they beat Switzerland 3-1. But you know, remember they put up 2 goals. They were trailing most of that quarterfinal game. against Morocco and had to score 2 goals within a span of 7 minutes in the final 15 of that game to come away with that. And then, Switzerland was actually crying a foul that on one of their goals the other night hit one of the video cables of the hover camera and led directly to one of the goals. There, FIFA found no evidence of that, but we all know that you can't take FIFA's word as far as you can throw it, especially after it was announced earlier today that the talk of them expanding the tournament from 48 to 64 is definitely in the cards.
Jesus. Why have qualifying at that point in time?
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't even matter at this point. You've got 128 nations that play, I want to say, or 190 in the FIFA World Rankings or something like that. And then you're going to send, I mean, it's basically going to turn it into college basketball. It's also the fact that you're going to need to make the World Cup 6 weeks, if not 2 months. And then that's the other aspect of this is all of these other leagues, La Liga, Bundesliga, MLS, Champions League, they're all on hold right now because their players are international. And even if those players come back, you still got to wait for the World Cup to finish.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little rough. I think they would be cutting into the revenue of these other leagues a little bit too much to do that. Should we spend as much time as the return on the return?
So anyone who missed it,
If you blinked.
Conor McGregor, after 5 years away from the UFC, returned on Saturday night to fight Max Holloway and came out with a flying kick immediately afterwards, landed wrong, hurts his knee, goes to throw another kick, plants wrong, and then basically Holloway wins the fight by TKO at 1 minute and 9 seconds of the first round.
Better fast exit, Conor McGregor or Aaron Rodgers?
I got to go Conor McGregor just because of how big of a piece of shit he is and the fact that he should have done jail time at least twice and the fact that Dana White seems to always, milk his cash cows. It's like, he keeps saying he's retired. I'm just waiting for them to actually say John Jones is coming back.
Is he going to be out of jail in time?
I mean, it's John Jones. Who the fuck cares anymore?
No one cares about Conor either. Go do another. Go do another movie with what's his name, Jake Gyllenhaal, bud.
Yeah, it's and I mean, go do another failed event, at another national monument. At this point, I mean, the PFL is backed by the Saudis, and they've got a lot more respectability than the UFC does anymore.
That's because Dana White, bent the knee to somebody.
Yeah, it's and I mean, one other note to come out of that: former Olympic gold medalist and short-lived failed WWE prospect Gable Stevenson won his UFC debut with a vicious knockout in the first round and is now 4-0 in his career at just 26 years old. So very, very promising here for him. And then that's typically what we see. I mean, that real American freestyle wrestling is, after Hulk Hogan died last year, I don't think that's going to take off. And typically that's what these, a lot of these wrestlers do. We saw, what Daniel Cormier was able to do, turn it into a Hall of Fame career where he won a couple of titles. We saw what Stipe did. We saw a lot of these world-class wrestlers. The next step up for them is to work on their striking game. We saw what Holly Holm was able to do in her career. We saw what Ronda was able to do in her career, with the martial arts, and then just be able to, progress it through from there. I'm actually, as much as I can't stand UFC, I'm definitely going to be intrigued when they finally announce the Kayla Harrison versus can't even think of her name. Amanda Nunes super fight here.
Yeah.
Probably early 2027.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff coming up they're going to be able to do. I just don't think they're going to be able to shake the stank of what they did in DC.
The other disappointment I saw, because I actually thought she might have been a little bit better than this. Did you hear who was one of the special ring girls for the main event on Saturday night?
Yeah, the chick from Indiana,
Sophie Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham. Yeah.
That first of all, she's getting her own themed shoe with Adidas. For a women's basketball shoe, it looks pretty good. But yeah, she was actually doing the meme with Max after Connor, because Connor immediately with his knee immediately left the octagon, went straight back to the locker room, blew off his post-fight interview for obvious, instances, and quite honestly, nobody wanted to listen to his bitch ass talk anyway.
No.
But yeah, here's Max and Sophie both doing the point at the octagon, in the octagon after the fight was called off.
Jeez. I mean, when I heard he was out quickly, I knew it had to be an injury, but I'm done with him. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Michael.
Look at the counter. Look at the counter.
111.
Band practice, and we're out of here before 1:30.
So what can we stall for the next 35 minutes?
Dude, I'm tired. Hit the fucking music.
Would you shut up and just push the button already?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It's the YZ Translator on the Wise Guys Sports Show.
I'm forever unclean.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the YZ Translator. It is the best segment of the night because it is the last segment of the night. It is that time when James and I give each other names inside and outside of the sports world. And the first thing that pops into our minds is what we tell you. Now, Jim, I will say this. There will be no Bernie Lomax jokes tonight. I think it's in poor taste. But now that we have figured out the whole broadcasting thing and we're live tonight, so it's a special occasion. James, if you would, please, sir. The Chronicle.
It's not Bernie Lomax, but
is it bad that my is it bad that my first thought was Steph's phone case as a Ouija board?
quiche board, Kuja board,
Wait. Two things. Have you seen the guy on social media? He goes, you have to be 16 to drive a car, you'd be 18 to vote, 21 to drink, but for the low price of $19.99, your 8-year-old can summon a demon. And he shows up Ouija board and it says 8+ on the box. Second thing, I'm going to ask you this during the basketball segment. Have you seen the clip from when Draymond was on Richard's show?
No.
Okay. So Draymond says to Richard, yo, how bad did you all shit your pants when KD came? Woo-hoo. And Richard sits there and looks at him and goes, about as bad as you guys shit your pants when we won and you had to go get him.
Yeah.
Have you watched all them, by the way?
No.
Dude, the Kevin Love episode is bad.
This week for me is chaos, and then next week I can finally get caught up on a lot of stuff. It's again 7 hours of streaming with TennoCon over the course of the weekend, and jumping back into everything with the game now in the fallout of TennoCon, and I've got like a good 2-month break before all the new stuff starts coming out, And then my 30-year reunion is next Saturday.
That's
I'm
right.
going to a concert on Thursday night. I got the Evanescence show in 3 weeks. So yeah, it's
Busy.
I'm a busy puppy.
Yeah, the only thing I got going on, well, I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but last week we had a special open house for Bobby for kindergarten.
Is it wrong that the most I've been relaxed this weekend, and probably the coolest, and I know it's a placebo effect, is like watching Hallmark's Christmas in July, where they're showing nothing but Christmas movies all month, and thinking 6 more months. First of all, the heat's gone, and secondly, a lot of stuff will be calmed down by then.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing I remember when I was up north going, oh man, the friggin' heat's going to be gone soon. Now there's no end in sight for me.
We wouldn't be from Ohio if we didn't complain of how cold it got in the winter and how hot it got in the summer. The fact that 2 weeks ago we had heat index over 107, and one of my coworkers who lives out in California said it's 77 here. That shouldn't be happening.
Those are fighting words.
Much like
James,
saying it's soda, much like saying it's pop, not soda. Did you watch the video I sent you?
Which one?
The one of the one of the two guys, the reactors.
No, I will though. I will do that tonight.
Did you watch the one clip that I told you to though?
Yes, that I saw.
God, I love those guys. That's where the hot bag of nickels came from.
Yeah, I figured as much. So, Jim, since it is incumbent upon me to give you the first name in tonight's Wisey Translator, I'm going to go with an oldie but a goodie. And, James, your first name in tonight's Wisey Translator is the man from St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, Ohio, LeBron James.
If he comes home, great. If he wants to wear blue and gold and stay out on the West Coast, I don't have a problem with it. Him going to Philadelphia or Miami would definitely be intriguing, but I would wonder how much it might taint his legacy on the way out to do so, with the fact of when Michael was in the nation's capital, we knew they weren't going anywhere because he had partial ownership. And here's a guy who would he basically, even with 4 rings and 3 MVPs, be reduced to nothing more than Karl Malone or Gary Payton trying to get one on the way out the door, and it fails miserably.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be. I'm sorry, the only choice. There's only one choice in this. There's only one. You go home, you give him a chance to win another title, and if he wins another one in Cleveland and walks off, dude, that's the biggest mic drop you can have.
The only fear with that is, what if they get like that close and they don't with him? Does he come back for year number 25? But the fact is, he's going to be 43.
I have nothing but love for that city.
You got to break that roster up a little bit.
Yeah, I have nothing but love for the city. But would that not be the most Cleveland thing ever?
Michael, I'm going to go way off the board, as I've actually, this gentleman has kind of come back up in the news a little bit in the world of professional wrestling for not what's happening on screen, but something that's happened on TV with a debut of a show that you and I do enjoy from time to time. And I'd like to get your take on his name, even if you haven't seen the tell-all tale, and I will tell you about it on the back end since you probably have not seen it. And
Jeff Jarrett.
that would be one Mr. JEFFJARRE Jeff Jarrett.
I'm still shocked his favorite babysitter got married a couple weeks ago.
So for those of you
Getting an invite.
For those of you that haven't seen it, Dark Side of the Ring Season 7 premiered last week with a 2-part episode of a 3-part series. And it was Jeff Jarrett and TNA Wrestling, where it showed after WWE had purchased WCW, Jeff Jarrett getting fired by WWE, Jeff Jarrett holding Vince McMahon up for money to wrestle China, Jeff Jarrett starting TNA Wrestling, and then basically getting the company pulled out from underneath him by Dixie Carter. And now this week's episode that's going to air on Tuesday is actually going to be the official Hostile Takeover, where Dixie Carter refused to sit down for an interview. Jeff Jarrett actually said that he sat down for 18 hours worth of interviews with Vice TV for this 3-hour episode, including Karen Jarrett going on camera for the first time to talk about the fact that Jeff did not steal her away from Kurt. Her and Kurt were separated at the time, and Jeff had also just lost his first wife.
Oh, that's right. I knew Jeff Jarrett was the.
And that's where Taylor Swift had babysat for them for a little bit.
Exactly, because I remember reading that he was the topic of the season premiere, and he's always been one of those guys where his in-ring persona. I mean, these guys are actors, is what they are. They're actors that do these things. His in-ring persona is so far and away from who he is. Far and away from who he is. That I was intrigued. I'll have to go back and watch that one.
Both of the first 2 episodes, I believe, are up for free on one of them's on the Vice TV YouTube channel, commercial free, and then the other one is on Vice TV's official website. And I think the third part's going to be uploaded either Tuesday night after the episode finishes airing, or on Wednesday, day after. And I'm definitely interested to see how this is really going to end and the spin that they're actually going to put on it. But it's fantastically done. And I've always had a lot of respect for Jeff Jarrett. And I'm not going to kind of, spoil anything here, but there was a lot of one of the big pieces of one of the big topics was Jarrett being the NWA champion, 4 or 5 times during the outset of the TNA days when they were still on, Fox Sports, and then also had just, landed their Spike TV deal. And he says, this way nobody ever has to worry about me leaving because I'm invested in the company. So we can actually have the face chase after me because I've got the belt and I can't go anywhere. I mean, that's smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely smart. He always had the eye for the main event. I will give him that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Jarrett was one of my closet favorites when I was a kid. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
There was a very, very, very good segment at the very start of the episode where they get Jeff's opinion, and you really take on a whole new respect for the guy as the episode progresses. Of people fail to realize this, 20 some odd years later, he was the first match immediately after Owen's accident, and that was Owen's
That's right. Yeah, no, I remember that.
He's watching.
I remember that.
Get wheeled out, and they say, "Jeff, you're up," and you can actually see him. He's trying to cut a promo, and so is Deborah immediately afterwards, and Deborah's like destroyed.
Well, yeah,
because literally Owen is being wheeled past them.
Yeah, that was not cool. God, that was that long ago.
1999, May 23rd, 1999. As a matter of fact, Netflix, how they've added a lot of the old WWE pay-per-views, they finally added the Over the Edge pay-per-view that Owen passed away at, but they don't do anything about. They took that entire segment and cut it out. You don't even see Owen's death announcement. They got a tribute up there. This event is dedicated to Owen Hart, who tragically passed away while this event was going on. You don't see any of that. So where all of their other pay-per-views, you look at the timestamp, it's like 2.5 hours or 2:45 or 3 hours or whatever. This is only like 2 hours and 12 minutes because of how much they had to chop.
Well, I don't blame them for chopping that. That's not something anybody ever wants to have to deal with again. What the heck was I gonna say? Yeah, so I'm gonna check out their site and I'm gonna watch that. Because again, I wanted the Dark Side of the Ring ones. There's a few of them I've wanted to watch. I never get a chance to. There's a few of them that I wanted no part of watching, and I'm glad I didn't. But Jeff Jarrett, like I said, he's one of them I do want to get my eyes on at some point in time in the near future. But I'm off the end of this week. Maybe I'll do it while I'm home.
I think the one that's going to be next week, I definitely want to look at. I think it also they might be doing 2 this week. I think they might finish up Jordan TNA Part 3, and then they might immediately go right into Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, which was that infamous bout that turned into a complete shoot with 2 of the biggest, in the business at that time on the independent scene. There was something else I was actually doing. Mike, one other bonus question. I'm not even going to throw this in the translator for what I showed you before. One extra name for the joke that he pulled. Ben Starr.
For who?
For Ben Starr. What I showed you right before we came on the air.
That's amazing.
Definitely not Rebecca Ford. So over the weekend, I've mentioned it twice already. I did 7 hours of streaming for TennoCon, which was Warframe's 2-day convention, and their lead design team, their lead designer, Rebecca Ford, could not be there. She was having emergency surgery on Saturday morning, and then they teased everyone. They said during one of their panels for the narrative and the storyline in the game that there were 5 chairs but only 4 people sitting there, and they said, well, Rebecca, come on out. And it was legendary video game voice actor Ben Starr and Janet Cesar. If you played any type of action adventure, role playing, or fantasy type game, Ben Starr's voiced the character that you fell in love with in the last maybe 7 or 8 years. Comes out in a really, really bad wig and with a shirt that says definitely Rebecca Ford, and sits in on the whole panel and basically is talking as Rebecca Ford the whole time, but he's actually serious because he's actually answering as Rebecca, but he's also answering as himself, completely serious and on point. And then at the very end of that panel says, "You idiots, it was me the whole time. I can't believe you didn't figure that out." And they pan the crowd and there's all these people going, "What?"
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, hey, good show, dude.
It was almost like we pre-recorded because of how short it was.
Amen. So we will come to you next week with episode 156, which will be recorded probably Wednesday night, I think we were saying.
Yeah.
So look for that as we get more into baseball, because we just after the All-Star break, a little bit of the ESPYs, which are next week, because there's a couple things I do want to touch on. We'll talk about that in pre-production. And of course, as always, the Wisey Translator.
And really, baseball, Michael, this is your wheelhouse now, because really we don't have any NFL. We've got training camp opening towards the end of the month. Do you realize that we got preseason games a month, 1 month from today?
Jim, we're what, 40? 13. We're 45 days from college football opening the season.
Will there be microtransactions involved?
See, they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Did you see that? They got rid of them.
Yeah, it's for now.
Yeah, for now. But I'm sure they'll be back by the time I'm ready to buy the game. Bastards. We'll see you guys next week for 156.